Social media is just to show that you're a real company to Google. So to Google, a normal business should have a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, LinkedIn. They'll look to see if you have those profiles, but other than that, they're not going to see how active, how many followers, how much engagement. They're not going to see all that. All social media blocks Google because they're all somewhat competitors.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Struggle to Strength podcast, your source for real life application on how to turn your struggles into strengths in all things mind, muscle, and money. Dude, I just learned more about SEO in 30 minutes than I have in my entire life.
Brandon. Wow.
Brandon, the man, Leibowitz.
Yeah.
Just like simplified. Yeah, he just simplified SEO in a way that nobody ever has. And I feel like I actually understand how it works now. I have a ton of notes.
Yeah.
Like a ridiculous amount of notes. And Travis and I were a little bit selfish on this episode and like asking questions that pertained more directly to our businesses, but at the same time, that gave real life application for two guys who are building their businesses, who have no idea how SEO works and who want to start from like square one. And so I think this was really valuable and really easy to sort of replicate in any industry, in any business. If you want to learn about SEO, if you have a website that you want to improve the ranking on, you're going to want to grab a notepad. You're going to want to listen to this episode. You're going to want to reach out to Brandon. He has a special gift for everybody at the end of the episode. But this really simplified what SEO is, how to make the most of it. We have like a simple, I think we had like four or five steps.
Basically like a 4-step process for how to improve SEO for beginners is what I would say. Probably going to be the title of the episode.
Yeah. And probably going to be the title of the episode. And there was one point in the episode where you listed those 4 steps and I was like, I get it now. Like I fucking get it.
Yeah.
So this was one of the most valuable episodes I think we've done as far as growing a brand, growing a business, and like being able to reach more people, reach more customers. So I have a list of changes that I'm going to be making over the next few weeks, and we'll continue to assess and improve. But yeah, to those of you who have made it this far into the episode, don't stop now. Grab your notepad, be ready to pay attention, because Brandon's about to drop some serious knowledge on you. We'll see you guys inside. To kind of kick things off, why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and kind of tell them a little bit about you and how you got into doing what you're doing. Obviously an established expert in this field, and then we're probably going to have a lot of questions for you, pick your brain, and then talk about like best practices. Honestly, in a lot of the capacity that Travis and I could benefit from, because I think our listeners could probably benefit from the same things in the same way. But I would love for you to just kind of give yourself a little bit of an intro to kick things off.
Yeah, my name is Brandon Leibowitz, and I've been involved with digital marketing since 2007. Just kind of fell into it, wasn't planning on it, but got my degree in business marketing. And the first job I got out of school was helping a company out with their digital marketing. And I didn't really know much about it. They didn't teach us much in school about that, but they said, don't worry, we don't know much either. We're going to learn together and take you like classes and workshops and seminars. And after doing that for a few months, just realized that everyone's probably going to have a website in the future. And there's a lot of different ways to get traffic. Like I was helping out with their SEO, social media, helping out with paid ads, doing some email marketing, but I really just thought that SEO is a way to get free traffic, and why spend money on paid ads when you could really just get up there for free on Google. So that's what I focused on over the years, working at different advertising agencies as a director of SEO. And before work or after work, on my lunch breaks, I would work on my own company and built it up to where I was able to quit my job and been focused on this ever sinst.
Dude, congratulations, man. We love to hear that sort of story.
Yeah.
I
have the most basic question that I would love to get out there in the very beginning. And that is, so SEO is one of those things, like NFTs is another example.
I hear it all the time. What is
That's
SEO?
My question. What is SEO? But I just want to preface it with like, there's a handful of different things. Like NFTs is one where it's like, it's talked about all the time. And honestly, I just have absolutely no idea what it even is. SEO is one of those things. Like it's something that like I work on, I talk about. I honestly have no idea what it is. And I feel like it's a little more complex than a lot of people maybe like think it is. So I'd love to just get like a good explanation, like what even is SEO?
Yeah, no, SEO gets a little tricky or confusing, but it's really just ranking websites on search engines. So that really comes down to Google nowadays is the main search engine. So if you search on Google, there's ads at the top. Those are all paid ads. Those companies are paying Google every time someone clicks on those ads. Right below that is organic, the free listings. And SEO is trying to get you in those free listings. There's 10 spots on that first page of Google, and it's trying to get you in that organic listing. So you're not paying for the ad, but you're getting up on Google.
So like our goal and like Travis's goal and my goal would be, you know, someone search from my perspective, someone searches for like fitness coaching in Google. Like if I could be on the first page of Google for fitness coaching, or if somebody typed in like, you know, how to build muscle, that would be incredible. And for Travis, you know, like content creation, photographer, videographer, like those would be keywords that Travis is trying to improve his ranking on. And that's essentially improving his SEO.
Yep, but you wouldn't want to rank for those keywords because the keywords you just said are like one word or two words, which are really broad and don't have any intent behind it. Someone searching for fitness, what does that mean? It can mean a bunch of different things. Someone looking for personal trainer in Los Angeles, they're looking for a personal trainer in Los Angeles. Less people are going to be searching for that keyword, but the people searching for it have that intent to actually want to use your product or service. So when you're thinking about keywords, I always tell people go for, it's called long tail keywords that are 2 or more words. The more words in that keyword, the less people that search for it, but the more intent behind it, because the longer that word or phrase is, the more specific it is, and they're really honing in. When they just search for 1 word or 2 word keywords, they're really just browsing around and they don't know what they're looking for. They're just like someone searching for photography. They're probably just getting into it maybe and trying to figure out, do I want to do digital? Do I want to do print, black and white, color? What are the different types of photography, cameras?
Do they just want to buy a camera?
Yeah.
And they're not looking for a photographer.
It almost seems like you're sort of trying to catch customers not in like the contemplation phase of change, but like when they're ready to take action or make a decision, they're like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. I know I want to move in this direction. And they're not just like browsing around, or like when you go into a store and they're like, how can I help you? Like, I'm just looking. You don't want those people.
No. I mean, you want them initially, but you just got to know that they're not going to buy. They're browsing around, and that's where you got to build that trust up. So if you're selling something very expensive, that's where you build that trust up. Like they're just browsing around, maybe shopping for a new car. They're looking online and it's expensive. So you got to build that trust up, try to collect that email address. So you can start emailing them updates about information, maybe run some ads to follow them around. So it keeps you top of mind, because those type of keywords are really just more, like you said, like just browsing around, but eventually they're going to want to make a purchase. They're just browsing around now. They just don't know what they're looking for. So you could help kind of guide them along that journey.
Okay. That's cool. That's good to know. Cause I think that there's a common misconception or misunderstanding around like what keywords you do want to rank for and how you rank for those keywords.
How do you know what keywords? You said like long tail, like how do you decide on those? How do you find like what the best ones are?
Usually you just try to take a step back and think, if you're looking for your product or service, what would you be searching? And then from there, search in Google. And then you can start kind of researching your competitors, because whoever's on that first page of Google, they've done their website's optimized. Google's saying that you're doing something right. So if you look at what's called the title tag, it's that blue clickable link that you see on every website. So when you search on Google for your keywords, if you look on that first page of Google, all those blue clickable links are going to be full of keywords. And that's where your competitors are putting all their keywords. So you can quickly spy your competitors' keywords without even have to go into the coding. Google's going to show you all that right there. And then I would take them into different tools like the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool that actually show you how many people search for that keyword every single month. So you can figure out, is this a good keyword? Or maybe 5 people search for this keyword. But if I use a plural or a singular, I might get 5,000 searches, because it does have a big impact. Singular, plural, synonyms. So you want to do your keyword research and then throw them into the Google Keyword Planner. It's a free tool from Google. There's other tools that will let you do keyword research, but they're all pulling their data from the Google Keyword Planner, and the Google Keyword Planner is free. So I would say use that. But if you want to pay for a tool, if you have a company that's willing to pay for a tool, then that's perfectly fine too. It just makes it a little bit easier to read all that data, but it's still the same exact numbers.
So we'd use Google Keyword Planner, and I could check, like Denver videographers, best Denver videographer, different combinations of something similar, and see like what the searches are.
You can see like Denver videographer or videographer in Denver or videographer Denver, Colorado, and all those are going to get very different amounts of searches.
Right.
That's really interesting. It's like that those small little changes make the big difference. Because at first, when I was getting into the online space, I had to wrap my head around like the big differences. When I first started, my fitness company was called Josh Levine Fitness. And it was like, I was like, well, it's my company. I'm the trainer. I don't know what else to call it. And then I started thinking about what people were looking for. And we sort of rebranded, and now we're the Muscle Building Method. And right when I made that change on Facebook, on Google, I noticed I was getting more attention because now we had the keywords of muscle building. And even just that, no one's searching for Josh Levine Fitness. Come on, let's be real, but people were searching for muscle building. And so now I can get even more specific with a free tool, Google Keyword Planner. Now that is very helpful, that I like.
Yeah. And that's where I think an important, because I do, I help a lot of my clients with video production, branding, that sort of thing. And this is kind of like a conversation that I'll have with some of them, because that's the importance of finding a specification or a niche. Yep. You know what I mean? So if you're all right, in the fitness industry, I'm the muscle build, I'm that's what I focus on. I focus on people who want to build muscle versus maybe lose weight or, nutritionist, whatever. Having that specific idea of who's my exact client, that probably helps a lot with coming up with, that's going to help your focus. And then that's going to help your SEO. If you don't necessarily know who's searching for you, it's kind of hard to get in front of them, I guess.
Makes it really tough. So you got to make sure or just try to take a step back and pretend you are looking for your product or service, which is tough if you're the owner of a business, because you're just ingrained in it all the time. You think, all right, this is how people search, but only take a step back with a clean slate, an open mind, and be all right, pretend I've never heard of this. Where would I go? Would I be on Google, or maybe would I be on Yelp? Would I be on social? But just try to take a step back and try to think of all the places that you would really go if you're looking for that type of service or product.
Nice.
That's awesome. Now, this might be a dumb question, but is how you approach your SEO strategy different for Google versus Yelp versus Facebook versus other things like that? Or does it generally work the same way? Do the same keywords work for Google as they would for these other engines?
If you're going after Google, Bing, Yahoo, search engines, then it's somewhat similar. They're all different algorithms, but the keywords would be pretty similar for search engines. But if you're doing optimizations or trying to optimize for Facebook or Instagram or social media, it's going to be very different at what they're looking for. And same with the keywords, even keywords from Google to YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. Keywords are going to be different how people search, even though it's similar, but it's going to be slightly different. So you want to do keyword research. For the most part, as long as you do keyword research for Google, it should be good across the board. But you might want, if you have some extra time, then you could do some specifically for Facebook or another platform. But if you don't have much time, if you're just a one-man solo entrepreneur, then maybe just do it for Google and don't worry about the other ones, because it will trickle through.
Okay. Yeah. So let's say I don't know, would this be helpful, Travis? I think maybe we just focus on Google and how to get your website to rank.
Yeah. I had one question before we get into there, just on to clarifying that. When it comes to SEO, generally, do you look at that as your general web presence? As in, do you find that YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, that all contributes to your SEO? Or for getting your website to rank, is that kind of a separate thing that you do? Or do you think that all is part of the same thing?
I mean, Google is blocked from all social media, but they do see if you have a profile, but they can't see anything after that, except for YouTube. Google owns YouTube, and Twitter. Google's partnered with Twitter. So those two might have some SEO value, but other than that, social media is just to show that you're a real company to Google. So to Google, a normal business should have a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, LinkedIn. So they'll look to see if you have those profiles, but other than that, they're not going to see how active, how many followers, how much engagement. They're not going to see all that, except for on YouTube and Twitter. But other than that, all social media blocks Google because they're all somewhat competitors.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, let's kind of focus, I guess, on like how to make your website rank. So it seems like so far what I'm kind of hearing, I feel like, is it comes down to like your Google ranking, and then maybe YouTube like would be a contributor there as well if they are both. But yeah, I guess like what is the
but like step one, how do you do that? Like even if I do use the Google keyword planner and I'm like, oh, I found these keywords, what do I do with that now?
You gotta add them to the coding, which I don't know how technical you want to get, but
oh my God.
Easy place that really doesn't matter. I mean, that is the most important is the text, the content on each page. So Google wants you to go in and put what Google sees is a coding. They don't see what we see. They can't read images or videos. It's all just text. So they rely heavily on text. The more text you have on each page, not just the homepage, every page on your website needs to have text. And that's going to help the search engines really understand and read and know what keywords you're targeting. Really, really important. And each page can only target about 3 to 5 words, max. After that, it kind of loses relevancy. So if you want to target more keywords, you got to create more pages. The more pages you have, the more keywords you can target, the more opportunities you have to rank, and the better off you're going to be. It's like building a house. You could build a house and keep adding levels to it, which is going to be just expanding it, but it's going to be very expensive to do that. Whereas with the website, you could just keep adding levels, new pages, and it doesn't cost that much to create a new page other than your time and that content, but you have to have the content. The text is the most important.
So that's really good to know because I wasn't aware of that. So on my website at themusclebuildingmethod.com, not the just musclebuildingmethod.com, I was like, oh, I'm going to make a blog because I need text on my website to rank better in these websites in the search engines. But I believe my entire blog right now is set up as one page and sections. So I would want to split that into each blog as its own new page, you're saying?
Oh yeah. The more pages, the better. You don't want to hold back. So you got it. That's why blogging became popular like 10 or 15 years ago, because it's tough to add web pages to your website. There was no WordPress or Shopify or Wix. Now it's pretty easy to update a website. But back then, you got to know coding, Dreamweaver, stuff like that. So blogging was an easy way to update your website, add more text to it. And that's really what blogging is a way to add more text to support everything on your website and just help Google better understand that everything's tied back and it all relates to one another, the topics and the content.
Okay.
So find good keywords, make sure that, you determine like exactly who your client is, what they're searching for, find good keywords that relate to that. And then you want to have as many pages as possible, I guess, but probably not necessarily as many like landing pages on your website. That's like the power of a blog, right? Like if you have like 1,000 landing pages, your website probably looks confusing. And, but like if you have a blog, then you can kind of like put out weekly pages that are basically, the blog. Is that what you would suggest?
Well, you just want to put out good content. You don't want to just throw out content to throw it out there because that's spammy to Google. So as long as you're providing good content, you could have 1 million pages. As long as it's all good content, that's perfectly fine. It's just making sure you provide value. That's number one. If you're just throwing up a page with like 2 sentences, that's not really helpful. But if you're throwing up a couple hundred words of value, original content, that's going to be really helpful.
Okay. So blog seems like a great thing to do to, start building your SEO, putting out good, valuable content. What are some other strategies, I guess? Like I would consider like maybe a blog, like a strategy, for instance. What are some other good strategies to increase your SEO and rank your website?
Well, the most important is getting Google to trust you, because you could make your website perfectly optimized, put keywords in the coding, add content, make it load quickly, do all the things that Google wants to see, but they don't trust anybody. They want to see what are called backlinks. Backlinks tell Google that you're a trustworthy website. And once you get backlinks, that's when Google looks at the keywords to figure out what to rank you for. But without backlinks, Google's not really going to rank a website. So a backlink is just a clickable link from another website that points to yours. So if you're reading an article, let's say on Forbes.com, and in there it says Brandon Leibowitz, and you click on it and it goes to my website, I'd be getting a backlink from Forbes.com. So the more websites that mention you, the more trust Google's going to give to you, and the higher they're going to rank you in the search engines. And that is the most important thing, because a lot of people don't understand the value of backlinks or how to build backlinks. And if you build the wrong type of backlinks, they'll actually do more harm than good. Instead of ranking higher, you actually drop down in rankings, because backlinks are what Google's algorithm first started off as a ranking signal. That's why Google got popular, is they use backlinks to rank websites, but people kind of figured out how to game the system and spam these backlinks. So over the years, Google's really changed how they look at these backlinks. It used to be a numbers game. If I have 100 backlinks and you had 200 backlinks, you would rank higher than me. Now it's not the number of backlinks, but it's the number of quality backlinks. So what is a quality backlink to Google? Quality backlink just means it comes from a site that's related to you. So if you're doing photography and you're getting a backlink from a fitness blog, that looks a little strange. Like, why is this fitness blog linking out to this photography website? But if you're doing photography and you're getting a backlink from a camera company or anything related to photography, it doesn't have to be another photographer, just anything somewhat related to what you're doing. Entertainment, like if you do wedding photography, it could be a wedding. Anything somewhat related. That's what Google wants to see, and that's a big part of their algorithm.
Okay.
Interesting. So for us, like even on like Struggle to Strength podcast, if we wanted to increase our SEO and our Google ranking, we would, potentially say something like, hey, if you are a guest on our podcast and you have a website, we would really appreciate having a page and a backlink from your website, and we could reciprocate that kind of thing.
Well, what you should do is you should create a page on your podcast website, and then you share that with everyone that's been on your podcast. So instead of giving everyone that's been on your podcast a link to Spotify or YouTube, which you're just helping those platforms get more traffic and make more money, it's better to post it on your own website and give everyone that link to your website, because everyone's going to share that podcast episode. And if you give them an app, like an iTunes, a Spotify, and iHeartRadio, they're going to share that URL. But if you give them your website URL, they're going to share that on social, on their blog, and it's naturally going to grow organically. And you're helping yourself out, because ultimately you want all the traffic to go to your website. You don't want people to go to Spotify or any of the other platforms, because once they're on those platforms, they kind of lock them in there. They don't really let you off Spotify. It's tough to leave. There's not many places that they could click your link, except for maybe in the bio, the description. But even then, people don't really see that stuff or read it that much. So you really want to drive everything to your website, because you own that website. That's yours forever. Spotify, YouTube, all these platforms could take you down anytime and drop your reach and engagement anytime. So you don't really have full control.
So even if we just had our, like, I imagine this now, and it makes total sense. Like when you say things like that, I'm like, well, yeah, of course that's the way it works. So like we would have, say, the Struggle to Strength podcast website, and instead of sharing the YouTube link or the Spotify link or the Apple link, we just put those links or our episode on our website, and we share our website link. So people are sharing our link and not theirs.
Yep. And essentially each episode could be a blog post on the website or a new page, but that's.
And can those link to like Spotify and Apple from that website?
Yeah. You could have all that there, but then everyone's going to share that link on your website instead of going directly to Spotify. They're going to share that link because that's where there's all the content there. You can even write like a little personalization about that guest and stuff like that, and just make it more optimized or get more control, because again, those other platforms don't really give you full control. So you could have all the links to all the different places. You could have a player directly embedded. You could embed the YouTube video right there, so you could watch it directly on your website, so they don't have to click off to YouTube.
That's great. Okay. And now does that include people sharing these things on social media? Because I know you mentioned that the social media was kind of blocked Google. So if people go to our website, share that website link to an episode on their Instagram or their Facebook, does that contribute to our SEO, or does it have to be embedded in another website?
No, Google's blocked from social, so they're not going to see that. But social, if they share it and they have 10,000 followers and you get a bunch of traffic or a bunch of new followers, that's great. So it still is very, very beneficial. Yeah, it's still helpful.
Getting them to put it on their website would be like supercharging it, basically.
Yeah.
That's going to help your SEO if they share it on their website, which they probably would if you give them a link to your website. If you give them a link to Spotify or something like that, they might just share that Spotify link on their website. So Spotify is going to rank higher in Google, which you want yourself to rank higher.
Yeah. So if we had for all of our fitness guests that we've had on the podcast, we could, create a page on the website, and because the guest was on our podcast, of course, we share the website link with them. We, say they can post it on their page. It's free for them, and it improves both of our SEOs, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
this is starting to make a little bit of sense.
That's a great.
I feel like I'm learning like algebra or something, and there's like letters and numbers, letters and math, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this.
It's crazy. So that seems like probably a great strategy for like the podcast, for instance, would be to create it, make sure that the podcast has its own website, and like each episode could be a blog post on there, host it, get people to share that, put it on their sites. And then maybe even like, do like a campaign where we're going on other people's podcasts, get them to put the link to our website in their episodes, on their sites, like all of that type of stuff. That seems like it would be big. What do you think?
Also, sorry, I was going to say it also makes a lot more sense when we have pretty high level, executives on our podcast. We're very business minded, business oriented individuals on the podcast. And some people, when we ask for them to give themselves a plug, hey, where can we find you? They're like, here's my Instagram, here's my Facebook. But I've noticed, and now it's making sense. I'm connecting this dot that a lot of the higher level business minded individuals we've had are like, this is my website.
Yeah. Just one link.
That's it. This is my website.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So what do you think? I'd love to get like something similar to that. Like, what do you think would be a good play for my website and Josh's website? And then we'll have a few different examples, kind of like a podcast, something that works for them, video production, fitness. Like, it seems like blog. So like for my website, for example, I have a video production company. So like blog seems like a good one for my website. Backlinks seems like a great one for my website. What do you think are some examples of, something like that for video production site, whether it's backlinks or maybe a different strategy? What do you think would work well for me if you have any ideas, I guess?
Well, just for any website, you need to add more content to each page. Got to create more pages on your website. The more pages, the better. Don't hold back for all the different services or products you have. And just make sure you build those backlinks, because if you're not building backlinks, none of that stuff matters. There's a lot of different ways to build backlinks. There's tools that will show me any website's backlinks. So I could see your backlinks. You could see my backlinks. Nothing's hidden if you look in the right places using different tools. You have to pay for them, but they are worth it. So it's like Ahrefs is a big one.
What is it?
So there's like 3 different big ones, and it doesn't matter which one you get. They're all the same or similar, but you could do Ahrefs or Moz or SEMrush, and you just pick one of these backlinks. There's tons of other tools out there. You just search on Google for tools to check backlinks, and you can throw any website in there and see all their backlinks. And if you throw your competitors in there, you can start looking at their backlinks and trying to acquire the same ones, because if it's working for them, if they're on that first page of Google for your keywords, it's more than likely those backlinks that are helping them get up there. So if you look at those backlinks, throw them into the different tools, you could kind of start mimicking them and try to acquire as many as you can that are relevant.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people, like, let's say it's Josh's example, like, you'll see like a fitness coach or something. All of a sudden they start posting a lot of like links of like interviews that they've been in. And I've worked with like a couple clients that basically just like you just like hit up like a PR person and they schedule like 10 interviews with like random blogs, and they do like interviews on you and like backlinks. I'm assuming that that's kind of like some sort of like SEO play. Obviously it like it's some sort of validation. Like it looks cool to your audience that like, oh, look, there was an interview. Like they don't know that you just like literally paid that person to do it. But it's like, oh, here's like an interview. Here's some information about me, a nice professional photo. Like it definitely looks good. But do you think that that's also kind of like a backlink strategy? Do you think that that works? Is that a good thing to do? Is it a bad thing to do?
No, I mean, any way to get on another website to get a backlink is going to be beneficial as long as it's relevant and
Right.
trustworthy website. But any way to get on a website, whether you're doing a sponsorship, doing a trade show, doing an interview, doing a blog for them, doing a press release, doing whatever needs to be done. But essentially, you just need to somehow figure out a way to get for them to write about you on their website, which gets tricky, but you got to get creative. And that's why looking at your competitors is going to show you what your competitors have done. And you can look at their strategies and try to implement similar strategies.
Okay. What if let's say Josh has a website with his blogs and stuff. And he has like 5 or 6 other coaches in the same industry that he's friends with. Like if they all just start like writing blogs about each other, that might be a good,
posting each other's blogs.
Yeah. Like if you each had like a blog about some, you know what I mean? Then it's like everyone's getting like 5 backlinks kind of, for instance.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As long as you don't link to one another, because once you link to one another, Google sees that and it cancels it out. So if I link to you, you link to me, it cancels it out. Even if we have people doing it, Google's able to pick it up.
So you'd want to do a round robin, like 10 people, everybody turn to your right and write a blog about that person. Everybody gets one.
Google still could catch on. Google.
So that's like the same concept as what I'm thinking of, like an engagement group that was popular on Instagram for a while. It was like, all right, we got this group of people and everybody like and share and comment on all of our own shit. And then Instagram was like, okay, well, all you sane people are liking and sharing and commenting on each other's stuff. Like, we don't care about that. We want new people. We want other things. So this seems like this kind of operates the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. And Google you want inbound links. You linking out to other people is just helping them out, which is not bad if they're your friends. But essentially, you want them to link to you. You don't want to link to them because once you do that, it cancels it out.
Okay, so here's a question then. Say I get, bodybuilding.com to post a blog that I wrote, and that would be a backlink for me. Mm-hmm. If I repost that blog on my page, will that cancel it out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you link back to them, yeah.
So we want to be selfish with this shit then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want inbound. You only want them to link to you. If you link to them, you're just helping them out. And then you're canceling all that value out.
Okay.
So it's called a reciprocal link.
Got it. So you just want inbound.
Be selfish.
Be selfish. Yeah.
Be selfish. Do not reciprocate. Which seems weird.
If anyone's out there, write a blog about me and I'm not going to write one back. That's my deal.
Big fan. Google, I'll Venmo you for a coffee.
Yeah.
But I won't write one back.
No, Google doesn't want you to game the system, and too many people game the system in the past where it's like,
makes sense.
Just email other people in their industry and be like, hey, let's just help each other out. I'll link to you. You link to me. Then Google's like, wait. This isn't the best strategy. We don't want people just linking to one another just to artificially inflate those rankings. We want real rankings from those backlinks. Because the backlinks are pretty much how they rank those websites. It's like a popularity contest. So once people figure out how to get more votes, more backlinks, Google's like, wait, let me make sure these are legitimate and credible, not just helping one another out.
I feel like my understanding of SEO went from negative 340 to like a positive 2, just with what we've talked about today.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
And then I guess the other thing is just like more content. So niche, keywords, backlinks, using one of those tools
pages
to find those, figure out how to get those, and then more good, valuable content. So like a blog putting out valuable content on different pages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow those 4 steps, you think your SEO will increase?
Mainly just the content and the backlinks. Those 2 are the most important. SEO is like a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces of this puzzle. Some are a lot bigger than others. The content on your website, like the text on your website, on each page on your website, the most important. But Google doesn't care what you put on there because they don't trust you. So the backlinks build that trust. So you got to have both the backlinks and the content. If you don't have the backlinks, Google's not going to trust you. If you don't have the content, but you have the backlinks, Google's not going to know what keywords to rank you for because they're just a robot. They don't really know what to do without you spoon feeding them and giving them as much information as possible.
Okay. And so that's a good point. How do you make good content? Is that a matter of like reading some specific books about how to make copywriting better? Is there like a certain type of thing to write? Should you just hire somebody to help you? Like, what do you suggest?
No, you just got to write for people. That's all that matters. It's just write for people. Don't write for Google. Just write for humans and just offer value. And yeah, you could just read tons of books on how to write articles, blogs, content, stuff like that. But as long as you're providing value, that's really what matters.
Okay. Do you have any books or anything like that you suggest?
I don't really know.
No, no worries. Yeah, there's a ton of good like copywriting books out there. If you just Google that, I'm sure they probably have good SEO.
also just practice. And we've had people on the podcast who talk about, speaking and copywriting. So I know we could probably link to an episode there as well, but just practice. Like if you're not confident with something, just start doing it and you'll figure it out and you'll get better at it and you'll start learning how to talk to the people that you want to reach. Like Brandon said, it's like have somebody in mind. Who are you trying to talk to? Literally just talk to that person. When you're writing your content, talk to that person like you're trying to help that person. And you'll likely strike a lot of those keywords, but it just takes time and practice. I mean, we've been writing content for years now and it keeps on getting better.
Practice makes perfect. The more you do, the better, the easier it will be.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't make perfect, it makes progress. Like you can't not get better at it,
Yeah. And Google's not scrutinizing it that much, I don't think. I mean, they want it to be in proper English, grammatically correct, but they're not going to penalize you for not making it at a college level versus a middle school level reading level. Plus middle school is more common.
Yeah, I was going to say, and most people, I mean, like when we're writing content, I've heard from many people, like make it like a 3rd to 5th grade reading level to make it easily understandable. Middle school level is the ideal because simple, easy, and it's going to relate to almost everyone. You're not going to exclude people unless you're selling something very luxury and high end. Then you could use bigger words. But other than that, if you're selling like T-shirts or hats or photography, stuff like that, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate. Because Travis could talk so far over my head about photography, but he would be talking to other photographers, and it's not photographers that are spending money on his business that are going to be investing in his services. It's people.
Here's an example. Instead of wide f-stop, you say blurry background. Because you want like professional photos have a blurry background. People like generally knows what that means, but like to do that, you need to like a lower f-stop, which is like a wider aperture. But it's like nobody knows what that means. So you just say like, do you want photos with a blurry background? I got your back. Like stuff like that is a better way of saying it.
Yeah, exactly. Simplify it all to just layman's terms.
Yeah.
Dude, cool. This has been so helpful. I have a lot of my notes are very long right now, and I have a really good handle, much better handle on what I need to do in order to improve my SEO. So dude, I can't thank you enough. And thank you for allowing us to be a little bit selfish with this episode and like make it fit what we're looking for. Because I think most of the people that listen to our podcast are relatively new business owners or early entrepreneurs or solopreneurs who also probably have no idea about how this stuff works. So hopefully for the listeners, this was applicable to what you're also working on. Brandon, do you have any like final words of wisdom or words of advice for people who are looking to improve their SEO or anything that you think was important that we may have missed today?
I would just say be patient with it all. It takes time with SEO and just digital marketing in general. It's not immediate. So just be patient with it and keep working at it because it does take time. But as long as you keep sending Google the right signals, they're going to start rewarding you and trusting you more. And you'll see your rankings start slowly moving up and up and up. But don't expect just immediate results. It takes time.
This is like building a relationship with Google.
Yeah.
You need to build trust with the Google.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man. Well, dude, Brandon, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise. I'm definitely going to want to keep in touch and continue to learn from you, because this was an incredibly valuable conversation for me. Why don't you tell us and the listeners a little bit about where we can find you, give yourself the plug, improve your SEO, so to speak, hopefully when we post this.
So for everyone that wants to learn more, I created a special gift for them if they go to my website at SEOoptimizers.com. It's SEOoptimizers.com/gift. And they can find that gift there along with my contact information and a bunch of classes I've done over the years. I've thrown them all up there for free. So if they want to see kind of step-by-step how to do a lot of stuff, they could see that there. And also if they want to book some time on my calendar for a free website analysis, I'm happy to check out their website from an SEO point of view, and they could book some time on my calendar there for free as well.
Dude, that's a huge give.
Yeah.
That is a huge give. Anybody who has a website doesn't take Brandon up on this. I mean, shit, I'm about
You crazy.
You crazy. You crazy, girl. You crazy. I'm about to head there. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. I'm definitely gonna head to your website, check that out. I definitely want to keep learning from you. In the last 30 minutes, I've learned more about SEO than I have in the past 2 years.
Same.
So this has been incredibly valuable to the listeners. You're probably going to want to listen back to this episode. You probably want to grab a notepad if you didn't have one. But thank you, Brandon, for coming on and sharing your expertise and for offering such just value, even in addition to your free gifts. And thank you to the listeners who have tuned in to another episode of the Struggle to Strength podcast. Let's get seen on the interwebs, guys. We'll see y'all next week.